if I got my bullet. Here at The Rock, we have two basic rules. The first rule is obey all rules.
Well, good morning, YouTube friends and family, and welcome to episode 2 of Mayberry Memories. So the little statue of Barney is actually a Christmas tree ornament that I purchased several years ago. And I just love it because it's the actual recorded voice of Barney Fife, played by Don Knotts. So today we are going to be making something out of our Aunt Bee's Mayberry cookbook. So as promised, I thought we would do a little bit of trivia this morning. So what we're actually making, and I'm gonna hold this up, is Howie Pruitt's Supreme Chocolate Chip Cookie. And this was Howie Pruitt in the show. He actually played in 8 episodes. And one of my favorite episodes that he played in, and it was actually the last episode, was called Opie's Newspaper. And the plot of it, if you're not an Andy Griffith fan, was that Opie and Howie were going to put out a newspaper, and just a little town newspaper, and sales were not very robust. And Howie had gotten this printing press for his birthday, so they really wanted to use it. And so Barney, being Barney, claimed that his nickname in high school was Scoop, and that he wrote a column for his school newspaper, and that they needed to broaden their scope so they reached more people. So what Howie and Opie actually did is they modeled their paper after the adult paper that had a column called Mayberry After Midnight, which was definitely a gossip type column. And it brought all kinds of hijinks and trouble. So it was a very, very cute episode that I enjoy to this day. So I'm no prizes here, but I have 2 trivia questions for you. So let's see how smart you are. So what was the name of Opie and Howie's newspaper? And the second one is, what was the name of Barney's column in his high school newspaper? So a little bit of obscure trivia, but I thought you might enjoy it. So if you want to just put your guesses for number 1 and 2 in the comments below, and then once everybody's kind of had a chance to put in their 2 cents, I will make a comment and pin it so that you can see what the actual answers are. But today I thought we would make Howie Pruitt's Supreme Chocolate Chip Cookies. So I'm gonna swing it around here. I think I have everything pre-measured. We'll see if we can do this without the flour disaster because I don't have the sifter attachment on. So the first thing we want to do, and this is not a low-calorie recipe, let me tell you. So it's probably also not low in cholesterol because I am going to use all butter. So you want to take a cup of butter, which is 2 sticks of butter, and these have been out at room temperature, and put them into your mixer bowl, and we are going to cream that butter up and add some sugar and eggs and vanilla. But let's just start with that cup of butter, and I will put the recipe in the box below, the description box. So let me just whip this up here a second. All right, that's at least softened a little bit. One problem is my house is so chilly that softened butter at room temperature isn't very soft. So I'm sure it'll be fine once we start beating it up. So to our 2 sticks of butter, or our 1 cup of butter, we are going to add 3/4 cup each of granulated white sugar and packed brown sugar. So let me put these in there. Oops. Maybe. I packed that good and tight. Here we go. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm just gonna eyeball it. So yes, sugar, butter, and vanilla. How can this not turn out good, right? So to save you all the noise, I'm gonna pause you for a moment while I whirl this up, and I'll bring you right back once it's creamed together. Okay, well, we have a nice creamed up mixture of yummy butter, brown sugar, white sugar, and our vanilla. And to that, oops, my tag is flipped out here. I'm gonna add 2 eggs and just beat those in. So while that mixes around a little bit, let me share with you what the dry ingredients are. So first, this is my mixer bowl cover that I made out of the Atomic Hat fabric. So I'll lay that aside. And into a separate bowl, what you want to do is put 2.5 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon each of salt and baking soda. Not baking powder, baking soda. And just mix that up together. And as I've shared before, I have a 7-quart mixer. So when you're making a dish that isn't quite the volume that you would normally use for a big mixer, sometimes you have to scrape that bowl down a few times to get everything mixed together. I understand KitchenAid now has something called a KitchenAid Artesian Mini. It's so cute. It's been out of stock because of Christmas, because I confess, yes, I have looked at it, but I don't know that I really need it. I'll just scrape the bowl, right? Right. Okay, raise that bowl back up. Now, what you want to do with this flour and salt mixture, I've just mixed it in soda. I've just mixed it together, and you want to add it a little bit at a time. So I'm just going to dump some in, mix it. And there's nothing hard about this recipe, but what I think is so neat about the recipe is that this was actually contributed by the actor that played Howie Pruitt, and his name is Dennis Rush. And I kind of looked out on the internet to see, like, what is he doing now, and I really couldn't find anything. He was born in 1952, which makes him, let's see, that would make him in his, he'll be 69 this year, I guess. So, you know, not a young pup anymore, but many actors, you know, are active. Look at Betty White, you know, well up into their 90s. So I think Howie Pruitt was maybe his best role, but I always enjoyed watching Opie's Friends, and he was certainly one of Opie's good friends. Okay, that's well incorporated, so let's keep adding. And I'll tell you what, so that you don't have to watch the mixer go round and round, let me get the rest of this flour incorporated, and then I'll bring you back for the ingredients that we are going to stir in that is going to make these cookies quite special and worthy of Mayberry Memories. So hang tight. Okay, well, we have our beautifully creamed batter all ready to go. And now we're going to add the delicious goodness. So many years ago, when my son was a youngin', he'll be 36 this month, I used to make something called monster cookies. And as I recall, they had a little bit of everything in them, like raisins and chocolate chips and M&Ms and peanut butter and oatmeal and all kinds of things. So this kind of puts me in the mind of that cookie, except it doesn't have the oatmeal in it, but I bet it would be good. So what it actually calls for is a lot. It calls for 12 ounces of raisins, which is like a box. It calls for 12 ounces of chocolate chips. And I have some semi-sweet and some dark left over from our hot cocoa bombs. So I'm just gonna mix them. And then it calls for 10 ounces of M&Ms. And I happen to have this little package. It's 5.6 ounces of mini M&Ms. So that's what I'm gonna use. So let's see how it looks with all that goodness in it. I think it's gonna be more additive ingredients than it's going to be cookie dough, but that's okay too. You know, it's really good to give yourself some treats that don't affect your no spin January from time to time, and just, you know, enjoy something delicious and special. If you have dietary restrictions, and I'm just gonna break these raisins up while we are working on this here and talking. If you have dietary restrictions where you can't have sugar or treats like this, you know, maybe think about making a special meal or a traditional meal. You know, something that you have on hand that will brighten your day or brighten your family's day. The No Spin January is not meant to feel like deprivation. So I wanted to share with you, yesterday I went to Walmart because I needed some soaping supplies to fill orders. And this is actually Monday, and you'll be watching it on Wednesday. But anyway, it was so weird because I started looking like I often do, you know, go down the makeup aisle and look at all the makeup, and then go in the clothes, and then go in the craft section. And as I was looking at prices, I was like, wow, this stuff is like super expensive, and I am not gonna blow it. I've done so well on No Spin Junior. I'm not gonna blow it on things I don't even really need. So I can definitely tell that this No Spin January is sticking with me, and I'm definitely changing the way I look at how I spend money and the time that I used to spend online shopping, that I'm not spending online shopping anymore. So, you know, am I tempted? Sometimes, but I was surprised yesterday. It was a definite difference. Okay, so I switched to this ginormous spatula to see if I could get this mixed up better. Your dough may be a little softer than mine. I've shared with you before, my house is kind of chilly. Well, I had turned the heat up because when I get cold, because of my psoriatic arthritis, I get really stiff. So that's how I was justifying it. So I turned the heat up to 66. And then my son was home, and, you know, I did a lot of running of hot water. I have a gas water heater. And then I got my gas bill, which was the highest it had been. And I don't just mean dollar amount, I mean the highest usage as well for the previous 11 months. So I decided that I would just be a little bit chilly. So I reset it back down to my 62 during the day, 60 at night. Took me a couple days to get used to it, but every time I'd be cold, I'd think about paying that bill, right? And I actually also turned down the hot water heater. I got a new hot water heater late summer because my other one totally quit working, and I left it set on the factory setting, and I was really digging the hot water because it takes it a while to get upstairs, you know, and it was just so nice having it hot. But what I have noticed in this winter is it was running so much, even when I wasn't running hot water, just to keep that ginormous tank of water hot at all times. So I turned it back a little bit, and so far so good. I haven't even really noticed the temperature difference. Okay, guys, how yum does that look, right? So over here behind me, I have preheated my oven to 375 degrees. I'm going to drop these onto a cookie sheet. It says ungreased. I do use a Silpat or a silicone mat so that they don't stick. I'm going to pop them in the oven. The cook time says 9 to 11 minutes. I have it on convect, so it may take a little bit longer, and I'll bring you back and show you what these delicious cookies look like. And yes, these are going to be my breakfast. So I'll see you in just a moment. Well, our beautiful Mayberry cookies are all finished, and let me tell you, they are lovely. Look at this goodness, right? Don't those look yum? I actually have not even tried one yet, but I'm going to in just a moment. So a couple details. 375 convection. My oven runs a little slow. Got chocolate on my hands. Took me 12 minutes, was just perfect. And I used a tablespoon, not a measuring tablespoon, but like one you would eat with, and kind of rounded it up into a ball. And of course, once they heat, they spread out. So yeah, I can't wait to try these. I need to freeze some of them because too many cookies make too much Kim, that's for sure. So I also have something exciting to share with you. So on my Monday video, I had posed the question, would you all be interested in an actual Facebook group for the Wellness Homesteader so that you could post things, questions or your accomplishments or recipes or ideas or pictures of your garden, whatever. So while my cookies were baking, I actually created that group. I invited some of you because you're my friend on Facebook that are probably watching right now. But if you didn't get an invite, what you will need to do is search on Facebook the Wellness Homesteader, not the page. You want to search the group. So you'll find both. And just to make it easy for you all, the cover picture is a picture of me laying in the pumpkin patch. So you'll see my blonde hair and a pumpkin beside my head, so you'll know you're in the right place. There are some questions that I ask. There's only 3. Basically, just you agree to be kind to one another, follow the group rules. Have you read the group rules, which are, pretty standard, that, we just want to stay on topic and be kind to one another. So I'm really looking forward to the interaction. I have made so many wonderful friends of you subscribers, and it's just been such a blessing to me. And I would like to see you all be able to talk to one another because you probably have quite a bit in common. So also, really quickly, I am going to be working on, I'll turn you around. Don't judge my messy kitchen. This is actually about 100 containers for my Gardener's Healing Hand Balm for my subscription box order, and I'm still waiting on some supplies for my Gardener's hand soap, and I will do a video on that. And I promise, guys, this isn't all going to be soap, but this is such a unique soap, and I'm actually going to share my personal recipe and how I do it, because I think a lot of us here garden, and there's nothing worse than having, ugly stained hands, which this soap is amazing, and it's all natural ingredients. It's made with essential oils. I think you're really going to love the recipe. So I will be doing that video, probably not this week's video, probably the next week. So if you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button and leave me a comment below. I just love reading your comments, and even as the subscriber numbers have grown, I've done pretty well on keeping up with, reading your comments and liking, and also trying to comment back to you whenever I can. So thank you for all of you who've been participating. Thanks to all of you as well who have been playing my playlists. I really appreciate that more than you know. I just love that the group continues to grow. I think this morning I'm at like 1,070. So we have quite a few new members just in another day. So welcome again, all new members. And I'm just so glad you're here, and you are blessing me more than you know. So as always, be healthy, be well, be blessed. If you're not subscribed, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell to be notified of all the new videos. And I'll see you all later this week. Take care.